Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Happy Ascension tea time. We're very excited today. What a amazing time we've been going through, and we're just excited.
Oh, wow, we get into it right away. Happy Friday,
Happy
Venus. How about some hello, like Michael?
Well, I'm making it short. As like, what an amazing time we're going through. Not personally, we are all going through it.
Michael is ready to start and dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome as we pour our tea. So please introduce yourself and also from where you are joining us. We're using our French press today to pour our tea. So let's see, Michael. You pour it. So thank you for joining and thank you for being with us. I was asking Michael whether we should put this on Facebook too and just have it go live or just here. We're just going to keep it here. So hi, Valerie. Aw, love you, Valerie. Thank you for joining us. So for those of you that are joining in, please just say your name and also from where you're joining us. Where are you? What happened? So what city, what country you're joining us so we can have like a beautiful conversation with each other. Did it drop?
Just a little.
Okay, and as usually, what tea are you drinking today? So we come together on this bi-weekly Friday gathering so we can just be with each other's presence as we all go through so much. And we always started with tea.
This
is on? Jesus! Hi, darling.
Hello, Higher Heart.
Higher Heart, please tell us your name and you're, from where are you? Lebanon. God bless you for joining us from Lebanon. So, Valerie, you're having Earl Grey. Wonderful. From Florida. We are having we're kind of addicted to this mangosteen peel tea with honey. Did you make it too sweet?
It wasn't too sweet, my love. But for you, I would make it very sweet.
No. This is, we love you so much. This is from in Canada. He's reaching out to us.
Good to see you. Aziz, thank you for joining us.
We owe you an email. You'll see why we haven't responded because we've been experiencing a whole lot. So much love. Yeah. Ooh, beautiful. So, wow. So, hold on. Let us put in a little prayer out today. Let us just for a minute, this post Friday tea time, Ascension time, Ascension talk, post 88 StarGate. There's so much to share. So I just want to put this prayer out there. May this gathering of our hearts in this now, as we just sit back and relax and just share together, be supported by the highest team of light, by the highest vibration of source light that we each are connected to, that we come from, that we share from, and just may the energies totally support the fullness of our truth as Michael and I are gathering with you to just really from our hearts share what has happened, what has transpired, inspired, and welcoming you to also join in with your total truth. Just putting all guards down, everything down, just let the hearts shine and share. So welcoming all of you, and as if you're just joining in, please just on the comments section or in the live chat, tell us your name and if you would, or just where you're joining us from, so that as the energies expand out through us, we know where it's radiating to. So aho, everyone, aho. So how you all doing? Have you been thrown under the bus like Michael and I?
Love to hear what has been moving through each and every one of you, how your days have been going, how this wonderful 8-8 gateway that, wow, beyond words that we can express. It's, I feel a new awakening, a new energy that has come through us, and it's always inspiring just to hear how you guys are doing.
And let's find out from you how you're doing first.
And what you're feeling and what things have come through, because It's, we're here to support, to honor, and to really feel the full collective of what's coming through, and we're all part of it. So thank you for sharing.
Yes. So from August 1st, there's some things that Michael and I feel like we just feel guided to share with you, because some of you have seen the post, and we've both been quite a bit behind addressing a lot of emails and texts and messages, and part of it has to do with let me just pass this. And part of it has to do, we've had to really take our own individual space, and we wanted to just utilize this vehicle of communication, as Michael and I always do, to just share truth, because we really find when we share the voice of our truth, that is the highest gift that we can give to each other, being raw, being real, and just really having a conversation. And for us being in a sacred divine union, there is a tremendous responsibility that we are in honor to. So that's why it becomes very important that for us, being ascension leaders, ascension guides, being able to be in the presence with our raw and realness, and share good, bad, ugly, share it all, because this is part of the humanity in recognizing we go through this. There's no fancy painted picture here. We are exactly who we are. We go through all kinds of things, and we do have our personal responsibility to ourselves, to our personal ascension, to the planetary ascension, and to the calling in which has brought us together, and everything that is in between it. And by sharing it, we give permission to also others to share, and really let go of these limitations and shames and all of that. If I don't have it together, something's wrong with me. Just putting all of these down and being very respectful to our ascension journey, and compassionate, and the higher understanding. So I really wanted us today to share what the StarGate really was for us, this 8-8, and that lioness energy, that presence of that, the cosmic lion, the felines, the Syrian light ships, and everything that took place, and this transformation space that took place from July 26th till ended in the 12th of August. What was that like for us? And also hearing it from you, what was it like for you? And for us to individually share, because Michael has certain things he wants to share, and there's certain things I like to share, and for us to just give voice to truth, because that's what liberates us.
And I feel it's very important to recognize that we are in this. Hello, sunshine, love. To recognize that we are.
Sunshine, love. Let us know where we're asking everybody that's joining us. Tell us where you are messaging from, just so that we know. Thanks, love.
To recognize that we are in this human vessel, and in this human vessel, there's been so much happening on a collective. Yet to pull it in and ground it and to share, because what I'm learning, what I'm experiencing, is the more I'm able to share, and the more I'm able to speak my truth, then it's clearly transparent, so that I'm a complete streamline. I'm a complete level of energy that is allowing to come forth. And obviously, all of us are going through different experiences. Each of us have our own individual mission, as well as we have our co-creative mission. So I find what I love about what Hani shared is that when we speak our truth, we're able to share our experience. We're able to share our emotions, our feelings, the energy behind it. And it's for us to, what I'm learning so much is not to hold back, not to create limitations or place energies into certain areas that just want to just hold us back from what we've come here to do. So I'm grateful that we can take this opportunity and just share openly, intimately, and connect, because on one element, we are all moving through this as one love, one heart. And so as we share this, it gives the opening, as we're vulnerable, as I'm stepping into my humility or my humbleness, then it opens up the hearts of each and every one of us just to really engage what has been moving through, because it's, I've understood it's very easy to sit in a place where maybe this area can hide a little, or this area can be pushed to the side, but that's not giving any fairness to the truth and the power that's come within me to be its fullest expression.
Yeah, so we kind of want to, little bit, if you can share. 2 weeks ago, when we had joined each other, we were getting ready for the actual alignment of the StarGate. For those of you that have watched over the years, I have several videos regarding the specifics of the Lion's StarGate and why this particular StarGate is so important. And the basic fundamentals of it through the Sirius Star B, where the inner sun of our heart connects directly with our Helios Vistus, which is the grandfather sun in our solar system. Then this connects with the central sun, connects with the galactic sun, connects with the source sun. This central alignment has a supreme stream light of the fullness of the source light in which we've extended from. So it's one day in the year, in the peak of it, which is the Lion Stargate, where the illumination of that, let's say, divine oil, the precious oil of life, of wisdom, illumination, knowledge, love, everything is accessible to us. And throughout the year, we start building up these energies through the eclipses and also through all the different light codes. Part of it is just for the individual to recognize and remember that in which it already is, which is source light. So it's not like, no longer resisting, dark, no longer resisting shadow, no longer trying to shame it or hide it or anything like that. If anything, shine the fullness of radiance in this space, so that in which is in this harmony or separation from its true reality that has been held within the matrix of the controlled conditioning programming can be its own revelation in its source illumination of light. And so this window period in end of July till this July 26th through August 12th is so incredible, because the Stargate, the way it opens, there are these multiple sort of like dimensional spiraling vibrations that are aligning with each other. 1 second, I'm just going to pause this until everything like clicks into its place and it opens up. And there are those of us who can actually align ourselves in a frequency where we can receive vibrational alignment of that in which opens us, so we get blasted by it and we're not going to get thrown out of it. And what's so important, this particular one, because the energies, the frequencies of 2020 have already become available to us because of the acceleration of ascension, we already experienced the 2020 frequencies coming in. So this Lion Stargate was giving us the opportunity to truly see within ourselves that in which is complete, not harmony with our Lion's heart truth, our own Stargate. So the Stargate's not so much out here, and I feel that's the thing that is shifting for. You are the portal, you are the gateway, you are the actual living Stargate. When you open up, you're getting blasted. So beforehand, you're starting to experience the alignments. If the alignments are in misharmony or disharmony, they're showing up. And certainly we had our own fair share in ourselves and also in our relations. So to see whether we can go through this welcoming Stargate and then come on the other side of it, and whether we can continue to move forward, whether the energies within us is able to align with our own central alignment and then take it forward. And so that was the post that I had posted regarding Michael and I taking a bit of space to dive into this area, because we knew, and frankly, like with there was an area with Michael and I that that created frustration in me, and I knew that I can't do this part for Michael. It's not my job to do it. And as much as I opened the space as a sacred divine feminine for Michael to come into it, it has to, he has to do it, because he has to come into his own, and I can't force it. I can't really push it. I can't do any of that. It's really out of my hands, out of it. I can only provide the support, and he has to do it. And for us, because we've come together to serve, there's a specific frequency that comes in that that we have to serve from. And I kept feeling for a while like Michael is not that he's not doing, he's actually doing, but he's not allowing the fullness of it. And that fullness, when it's not fully expressed, would create pressure in me, because I felt like I'm carrying sort of like the container in the fullness, and Michael is not coming to carry his part, and that was not feeling good. So it required like really coming into this space of fully expressing, Michael, I don't feel right about this. I don't feel good about this, because I can see, we discussed it. I said, I can see this is available to you. You're one of the blessed people that have come into incarnation of love. You have all this love, you have all this support, and it's not, you don't know, you actually have access. You got to bring it in, but you're blocking your own self from breaking it in. And I cannot. And this was the part for me. I was like, I cannot stand by that, because I'm asked in my personal ascension, I have to move forward with this energy. And I can't share energy that's not being in total fullness expression of it, because it won't let us deliver the work. So that's why for this, I was like, we were supposed to be together for 8 days. I was like, I can't. I need to be in my own space. You need to be in your space. You need to take care of this if you want to go move forward, because things have been more shown to us, but we can't take it any more forward until this area is taken care of.
And I thank you, honey, because I feel it's such a gift, and it's such a tool to really not only share with me, but to share with others. Just the importance to dive into this, and not to look at this as something small or to brush off to the side, but to really jump forward into it. Because, as I'm aware, and I feel as many are aware, that the feminine energy has a way of seeing things in such depth. And not that the masculine is like slow or doesn't see, but there's ways where there's this maturity of energy that, as the container of the feminine is there to hold the masculine, it also sees right through it. So I thank you for the patience, and also what I find, the time to dive inward, because I knew that space, how important it was really to go deep. And I realized it was very easy for me to be distracted and to see where I was giving my energy outward. And the more I was giving my energy outward, I wasn't being the strong conduit of light.
Because you were making excuses. There were certain, because I'm going to have you go into it. So there were a couple of areas that I was direct, because I could see right through. I can see right through a person, just like many of us can see. And then when I would, Michael, before, he wouldn't like it when I directly would say, I'm seeing this, like, what's up? And then he would get a little bit uncomfortable, like, or try to say, well, or try to compensate. Well, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. I'm like, Michael. And then there's this avoidance, not wanting to really tackle what I was addressing. So that's why it required this space. I was like, you know what? I don't want to hear any more excuse, because I don't want to support also I'm equally responsible for supporting this in you because I'm actually putting up with it. I'm tolerating it. So that's why I don't want to tolerate myself for putting up with this, because that's not out of love I'm coming, but I'm also coming from this place of tolerating that in which you're resisting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I did that live stream video and that talking about the bullshit and all of that was taken down. So I was like, Michael, here's my bullshit that I'm going to not put up with anymore because I see you not responding to this. So I'm going to step forward and go, and I'll just release this, and this is your opportunity for you to tackle this.
Exactly. And it's interesting because I could see that within my mind and ego that there was this resistance or even excuses because it didn't have an answer. It didn't have an ability to say what was happening because there was a time and space that I really need to just go inward and really have that space and time to see where is it that I'm holding myself back? Where is it that I'm not allowing myself to see deeper within myself? And what was so valuable, and I thank you for this time and space, because I find in that time and space when we can really ground, and what I found myself with going into nature and just really sitting there deep in meditation, connected within and seeing what areas of mine am I giving attention to? What areas am I not allowing my fullness in? And what I come to conclusion, what I really feel is my lower three chakras. My lower three chakras, from my security, from my sense of connection, and most importantly, my power within my solar plexus. Where were these limitations coming from? What was happening? And I was realizing that there were hidden areas where I still felt that I was not coming from my full confidence, my full strength, my full courage. And where was that being given to?
And the expression of it.
And the expression of it, because the deeper that I went, the more I started to then go into my inner child. And then I started to see, where was it within my inner child that I was frozen? Where was it when there was a direct energy that was put in front of me where I just froze in that? And so it was powerful to see the areas which I was going back to my father, seeing areas that were going back, even that I've seen in my past life regressions, of where situations of abandonment, rejection, fear of loss were actually given the opportunity to really, what I feel was like they were taking the driver's seat. The driver's seat from my heart, which is here to be the fullest expression of mine, was actually being given to another power.
And I kept pointing this to Michael. I was like, Michael, I kept pointing that to it. Like, I can see, why are you giving this to this? I know you. That's not you. Like, what is happening? Because then that kept creating this frustration. And I'm going to have you, Michael, just 1 second. And it's so important. It's so important when we share any union we share, especially even the union with ourselves. It's so important to have the courage to speak to it. Even the person cannot see it, but you can clearly see to still speak to it, because doesn't matter how much is being resisted, you still communicate. I was not backing down with, like, because I could feel this is in disharmony, and he can't see it in himself. So I have to give him to space to see it. I'm gonna move forward until he can see this within himself.
Yeah. And so what I
out of love, I'm gonna give this space so you can see this within yourself, because he would say he doesn't want to create the hurt. He doesn't want to create the disharmony. He didn't want to, but that in which he didn't want, he was actually doing.
Sure. And what I recognized is, ultimately, I wasn't not just standing in my power. I wasn't jumping in my power. I was actually doing the opposite. I was giving my power away to a lower vibration and a lower energy that basically was steering me in directions that created doubt, that created a lack of trust. It created this feeling of,
Maybe you can use an example so they can really understand what you're saying.
So I feel one of the depths and one of the areas that, just to be raw and real, is that, you know, in our union, I know in my own maturity there has been this delay, and there's been this delay of taking the next step, taking the next jump, coming out forward and fully celebrating, honey, to the highest level possible. And somewhere within myself,
celebrating means really celebrating our union with our family, with our, you know, we do ceremony for everybody else, but for us, I had asked very early on how important it is in our sacred union for us to have our own ceremony with our family, Michael's mom, Michael's brother, my mom, my children. And though Michael wanted that, he just kept avoiding this and putting it off, and it made no sense, because he would say he wanted to, but there was no action, there was no communication, there's no addressing it, there's total avoidance, which was creating a lot of frustration, because it's like, we're very clear, we're so close, like, what is going on? And I couldn't find out what the answer is. Hi, Demetrius. Thank you for joining. Demetrius is joining us from London.
And it was, and for me, it was really confusing, because in one part, here's my sacred love, here's my soulmate, here's someone that I want to be with, yet in myself, in my mind, I was creating this, like, well, this needs to be done, this has to happen. I felt like there was like a lot of checklists, there were like a lot of pieces that I wanted to make sure things were this certain way for me to go ahead and do
controlling
this.
them,
the control of it. And for me, it was challenging, because on one part of me, here's my soul that wants to, but then there's some weird feeling of just not being ready. And it was really confusing, because I'm like, okay, why am I feeling not ready when it's been my dream to be with the one that I love, to serve with the one I love, and to share and cherish all of this. Yet somewhere within me, there was this feeling of not being ready. And it was almost like this not being ready from a place where it was almost like I could feel like this little boy or a little child within me just feeling scared. Like, okay, am I ready to do this? Am I ready? Not questioning my love, not thinking like, oh, is this the right one or wrong? But just this sense of like, is it ready now? You know, I think I may need more time for this, in that sense. But that was what I realized, is that time, that readiness, is the illusion that I was giving my power away to, because where was I letting these three chakras come from? Where was it pulling me from? It was pulling me from a place where I was just like feeling a little scared, feeling fearful, feeling disempowered within myself, because I realized that the confidence, the courage, the strength, and even the biggest piece of it is it wasn't empowering that will within inside. And that will.
And that was so interesting, because Michael, I have never felt love like the way Michael expresses his love to me. I mean, it's so incredible, and the amount that we share together. Yet there's this connection, and I kept like searching. It's like, what is happening? This doesn't match up. This doesn't add. And you know, some of us women, we're very intuitive. We can see through it, and sometimes they themselves can't see it. It's like, what is happening? I want to hold you accountable so you can see this, because you're saying one thing to me, but your action is not displaying. And I can see you giving that in which is truth to you, to this other part, but it also plays out in other way. Like, for example, when he would have a workshop, he continuously wanted to satisfy this part of him to be ready. And I could see him, he would work himself up. I'm like, what is going on? Michael, you were born ready. You came in ready. Like, why are you creating suffering within yourself? And I said, and that was the thing, you're creating suffering in you, and that suffering is coming between us. What's happening? Like, and I kept saying, the more you feed this part of you that wants once evidence that it's ready, it's never good enough for it. And I wanted to know why, while you have this magnificent energy, this magnificent power, this incredible gift that you already are, you keep giving it to this tiny little like fractal. I couldn't grasp what was happening. So sorry.
And it's powerful because in that fractal, it's like, where was I giving it to? And so I sat there and I was like,
yeah, it was like you're taking the entire frequency of your source and you're feeding it to this limited fractal continuously.
Right. And what I started to see, that as sensitive as I am, we see that I'm aware that there's my emotional body, there's my physical body, there's my mental body, and there's my ethereal body. And obviously and
it's your spiritual body.
My spiritual body. And it's very interesting that where was I leaking this energy? And I could see that my emotions, I was really aware that the energy was really being brought into the emotions, because in these limitations, in these programs, and in these false beliefs, it was triggering this fear that I was giving my emotions to. And in the fear, I also was very aware that underneath that, there was pain. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I sat there and I went into it, and I not only felt the pain, but I connected with my father. And I just really started to see, where am I that I'm not in alignment? If I'm here to be a conduit of the light, where am I within myself that I am leaking this energy out? How am I not standing in my full power? And what was very interesting was to really see, how much energy am I giving to my emotions?
Yeah.
How much energy am I giving to a feeling that is being triggered by a false belief or a condition that I'm giving my power to? And what was really interesting is to see that small limitation, as Honey has saw, as Honey has felt, I've never been in a position where I've felt as deep love for Honey. I've never been in a position where I've literally have jumped in and dedicated to my level right now, everything I placed in. Yet, how was it that I was giving this limitation of myself all of the power, all of the energy? And so it was interesting, because as we created that space, it also created the energy. Valerie, you said this pressure to force it out, to bring out that feeling of, oh my gosh, what happens if there's loss?
Yeah.
And
I wasn't backing down either.
Right.
And just so that I was not backing, I was like, Michael, and it was very important for me, because these past 3 years we've been together, and so much of our planetary work has been together. I was like, I'm leaving, and I have you. You were not in my life before, so I'm going to continue, and I'm just not going to stand by, support this part of you that you keep feeding. We have been asked, there is a specific name that's been given to us for the next level. There's all of these things, we have to serve it, and I'm ready to serve it with you. I am a warrior. That's what I came here with, and I need for us, if that's what you called, like for us to align, let's do this shitty work together. This shit work here, we got work to do. And I can't have you keep giving. And the funniest thing for me was, I said, Michael, I was like, when we met, when we got on the road, we started doing all of this. You showed me the power of your heart. I was like, okay, wow. So this is real. This is amazing. I tasted it. And then I was like, then you retracted. Like, what happened? So I've been waiting for Michael to come, and he has. But again, this one part of it, and of course, we both have gone through so much and all of that, and Michael's family, just Michael's father getting ready for his transition, all of that.
My acclimation.
And the acclimation, there's so much. We've experienced so much, but this part, and it was so important for me. I was not backing down. And this was the thing for this StarGate. I was like, that's it. Like, I was angry, I was mad, I was fired, I was everything. I was F-bombs were going and everything, because I was like I refuse to back down from here, because I can see clearly, and I'm not going to let the little limitation of yours to try to dominate and tell me what I can't see, that I see so clear in my heart. And with this power, I'm going forward. I want you to be in this power, and then talk to me. And so that was the position that And talking through it, like really deeply talking through the depths and the depths and the depths of it. So go ahead, because then I want to tell what happened.
And so, and what I feel it's so powerful, and as Honey was expressing, when the Lion's Gate came through, it was bringing up all the energies that no longer serve us. It was bringing up all the debris that have been hidden with it. And I'll tell you, like, the human mind is really, really tricky. Not to go on a tangent, but I remember I was in Bali and I worked with a very powerful shaman, and she led me through some very deep healings. And she said, your mind had so many trap doors for me that every time I got to a place, another door would drop, another door would drop, another door would drop. Yeah. And I remember her saying that because I was like, wow, this mind can be so
crafty and tricky, and
it's like
sophisticated.
It can tell you that, like, wait a minute, you've done that work before. You've, and especially in the spiritual work, we can say, well, I've gone through that. Oh, I've healed that. And we really have to call our shit out. They say, have I fully cleared, transformed all of that pain? Because how interesting that some of this deep residual that's not fully cleared out can hide in the most crafty areas that will not be brought forward until the fire of the flame of the lioness that's breathing in front of you.
And the lion brings it out.
It's breathing out. It's almost like someone that has something and they're like protecting it, and they're not ready to let it go. And then all of a sudden there's this flame that's coming straight down, and that flame is coming so straight down, that purity flame that's coming down. It's like there's no protection anymore. It all has to come up, no matter how much you want to hide, no matter how much you want to protect it, no matter how much pressure is around you, it's going to pop. Yeah. And I felt this was my popping phase, because
you popped totally.
I popped in ways. I mean, like, if people would have saw me, I was like at moments like on the ground. I was in the mountains. There was a lot of tears. There was a lot of just sadness, and there was just a lot of, truths, being unveiled, because I really saw that, wow, there are areas of fears that have not fully transformed. I was going deep and saying, okay, the biggest one was the fear of loss, and being like, well, how can I give my permission to the fear of loss when there's not a such thing as loss, because we're here only in this life. We're in this vessel that we're only borrowing. We're in this experience where we're here for a short time, and this is not mine. This is not mine. I cannot be attached to anything that I call mine and call it claiming, and then automatically think if it's not my possession anymore, that it is a loss, because there is no loss. We are not losing anything. If anything, we're shedding the things that we're attached to. So part of it is I had to let go of the attachment to this feeling of like, okay, this is giving me the identity.
That false safety.
Right. And so that was like
well, because you were working on what mine was a whole different safety, which I'll talk about.
Right. Yeah. And so it was interesting to see where that feeling of loss was coming from, where that feeling was really being pulled from, which I spoke about earlier, about this feeling of not being safe, this feeling of not being secure, and obviously bringing up the feeling of abandonment, the feeling of not being loved, of not being supported, of not being appreciated, of not being valued, not being celebrated. But then I had to go through that too, because I realized that I also had to look at, is there a program running within me that needs this codependency to create the feeling of, well, I need to be valued, I need to be this, I need to be that. And I knew deep within me that that's not my truth, because the truth is I'm responsible for my own value. I'm responsible for my own love. I'm responsible for my own celebration. I'm responsible for all of that. No one's responsible for me. And if I'm not honoring myself, I'm not giving the permission to honor Honey. If I'm not valuing myself, if I'm not giving the self of love to me, then that's only being given to a fraction within Honey. And that's where really I had to go within myself and say, am I really giving myself the time and space for my own self-love? Because if I'm limiting myself, I'm limiting Honey. If I'm not taking the time,
and that was the thing. That was the whole thing. I was like, Michael, this is when you celebrate you, when you really boldly celebrate you, and it's your heart, and there's that distinction, real distinction. The solar plexus is not your heart. Your heart is fierce, it's fucking powerhouse. But when you're coming still from here, that's not, you haven't tapped into the heart, but you've tapped in the heart. So I had to show my example. Like, remember when you did this, that came from your heart, for him to know, okay, which was which, to really just distinguish, like truly distinguish.
And I felt what was really important is with the Lionsgate that was coming here to pop me out of all this stuff, I still had to stay grounded enough not to get lost in that emotion, because I could have easily gone into those emotions. I could have easily turned into the victim consciousness. I could have easily given my power a little more. But the one thing that I really value with Honey is we do speak through this. Now,
we really talk through it, and no matter what, we talk
we keep
through
going.
it.
We go through tears. We go through crying. We're giving space.
I feel like you should say this. I feel like within this space, I was like, God, we're like brothers and sisters. We're cousins, mother, father, mother, grandmother, best friends, like lovers. We're everything within all time, space, reality in one. And it's wild.
And imagine like a chessboard. Imagine like you're playing a chessboard, right? And all the characters come alive, and they all come at you like, ha!
And it's from all time, playing all time. Like everything comes. Everything comes.
And as it's all coming, what I find is there's one part that I'm moving through. There's one part that's Honey's moving through. There's one part as the Sacred Union's moving through. And there's one part that the whole collective is moving through. And, the one thing that kept arising for me was this doubt. Like, where's this doubt coming from? And of course, when that doubt holds that power, then comes the lack of trust. Then comes the skepticism. Then comes all these energies that are pulling from all of this. And so it really took, really discipline to say, okay, no matter how upset Honey's at, I'm not here to take it personal. I'm not here to defend. And what I found really interesting is really to keep myself in a heart-centered place, so that this mind would not constantly try to take all the information that's been given to me and then create another list of excuses, another list of energies that were like, well, this happened, this means this means this, because like I said, the mind can get so crafty when there's this energy of pain. That pain is coming from these limited beliefs, and it wants to pull you back into this pain body. It wants to pull you into this motion. And for me, which has been my life, really is allowing myself not to let my solar plexus, because I don't know how you guys feel, but for me, when I go through an emotional moment, it hits my belly
right away.
My appetite's gone. My energy, my feeling of just like happiness and joy, it just feels like I've been like just stabbed in the belly. And to reclaim that, it's really, really taking the time to go deep into that power and to realize, as we spoke about this morning, it's already there. It's all right there given to us.
And the thing of it, which is a couple of parts of this, which is very interesting, because Michael is very open in his sacred divine feminine, and because he's had a hard time with the masculine energy, the toxic masculine energy, there's this part of him that I could see he's also, as he's leading the sacred divine masculine group, but there's this part of him that he resists in the fullness of the masculine energy. And there's this kind of like not wanting to, and there's that part of him of ownership of it. And a lot has to do with his solar plexus, because he kept feeling like the softness is him expressing his heart. And I was like, that's not true, Michael. That's what you feel, but you gotta like own it. There's the beauty of the sacred masculine energies when you own it and you put it in action. You're feeling it, but you don't take it into action. What is this? So there was, and by him not taking into action, this next phase that we need to go. So for him to show his fullness of support and really come, that was creating doubt with me that like, okay, we really can't go forward anymore, because I can't deliver I can deliver it by myself, but I'm asked to do it with the other. But if you're not allowing it, so that way this is not a matched harmony, then we can't go forward as much as we love each other. But the love has to be true, expanded love within ourselves that's allowing. I'm allowing this, but you're blocking it. So you either allow it so we can share it, or we go apart. And so there's, and this is the realness of what we were experiencing, and the truth of it. And what was interesting is, I want to share this with you, that was also very, very important, was that on 8/8, I haven't had the full experience. So before I left in the car and I drove, had to find where to be, and just all kinds of stuff. And some of you follow. It was incredible to work with the StarGate, bring it in, and just feeling the love and the support, and feeling the gratitude that, I'm here responsible and assigned to this voice of the Magdalene. How can I not serve the voice of the Magdalene consciousness if I'm suppressing my voice, if I'm not expressing my truth? So my truth doesn't matter how upset it makes him, because I come from a background. My mother would always say, if you tell man the truth, he will leave you. If you tell the man the truth, he won't hear you. And part of me, I was like, okay, my mom may have been right, even though I knew it wasn't true, because Michael is not hearing me. Like he's not hearing it. So, and for me, it was like, I'm going to continue to be dedicated to this deep truth that I know, which is the Magdalene voice. The Magdalene voice has been suppressed, has been oppressed, has been depressed. And I've been assigned to this for a number of years, to voice it out, bring it from underneath that. It's the Gaia's voice, it's the Sophia's code, that it no longer can be suppressed. That voice is that beautiful crystalline golden white rose that is the freedom for everyone, has the highest good for everything and everyone. And that's what's rising right from underneath. And I feel it so deep inside of me. And so the expression of it was very, very important.
And the ability, which I thought was powerful, is when you were expressing all that, I was listening to that.
You were really listening, and that was very beautiful.
It gave the opportunity to dispel your mother's belief of, will
That's
a man,
right.
Be able to listen to your truth, even if it's the most, intense, direct, firm truth that can be held.
Yeah.
The beauty of it is to sit in that rawness and to really feel and feel the energy of it, because, one part is, it gave Honey the opportunity really to express all of the pain underneath, that wants to come up and to be fully given, and not only the pain to come up, but to be expressed, and then to have someone in her field across from her and listening, but not just listening, but hardening that in full ability to hear, because my eyes, my energy, everything, and all my capability is giving that fullness to what's being expressed.
And that expression then gave Michael the opportunity to really express his truth. And I feel that's the gift we give to each other. We never serve each other when we hold back that energy. We are not totally honest and raw, because we don't do it to ourselves. We don't gift ourselves that gift, and we don't give the other person the opportunity to share the totality of their expression, however and whatever that expression is. And one of the things that within this was very important for me, as we've spoken, I really, really placed this in Michael's hands. And but this is very interesting, because on 8/8, when I came back, my sons were supposed to be here. They weren't here. So when Michael and I were on the phone at 7:30 p.m., I was sharing with her. I was like, Michael, I feel called. I need to move forward, because this truth is so important to me. Like, I want nothing than the fullest of the rawest and truth. If you feel you can be in that expression of the rawest truth, then we can move forward, because it's so important for me. I find safety in being in that space of total truthfulness, because I have not felt, I was saying this to I didn't feel safe in this incarnation as a child. I didn't feel safe as a teenager, going through from the sexual abuse to, it's just a home to feel safe from the violence, from the revolution and the war and the bombing, and then the migration, and there's so much around that, just not being safe. And so how important that is, and that's an area that I have worked on in divine mother creator hold me in her womb of creation in safety.
How interesting when you saw all those tanks.
Exactly,
again,
exactly. Safe,
like
because there's been a lot of that war energy that have been around.
Felt like we were in a war during this time.
It was fun. I was like, Michael, look, it's like
what's going through. There was these just tanks that you kept passing.
I kept passing these military tanks and all, and that's what's been dismantled. But what was so interesting was, in the morning when I woke up, I was like, okay, there's an energy to shift around this, and I saw in my email right at that time that Michael and I were talking, somehow randomly, right where we live, there was actual gun shooting. Gunshots.
And someone got shot.
Someone did get shot, and
Honey said that when we were speaking.
I heard it actually, but I was like, maybe it's just like fireworks. I didn't think anything of it. That was incredible, because that moment I didn't go into fear at all. I said, oh my goodness, that space of the safety for me, the safety for Michael within this magnetic field has drawn this energy here. So we need to shift that right away. And what is that communication in that these are all areas we both have worked on, but it was so much deeper, that safety that I was speaking with. I really went into the core of it, and to be held. So on Friday last week, I went for a walk, and I just started pouring divine into it. I said, wherever this area of safety has created issue, I'm going to dissolve it by the power of divine. And brought it up to Michael. Just started to really work with it. And Michael got all excited too. So then, he was coming back that night so we can really dive in this space together. Like, he felt very inspired. I felt very inspired. I was like, okay, if you want to move forward, this part also in me is being dissolved. So there is a part that was brought forward, and part of it I explained to him. I put things in order, and sort of like in the expression of prevention. Part of it was safety, so I don't get beaten up like I used to as a child, with my father. So I developed that.
And what I find is very important, just for everyone to relate on a collective level, is even when I went into, in Element, a couple of days later, talking about my feelings of not feeling safe or connected on a larger scale, some of our, highest first world societies, we're living in this survival mechanism. Yeah. We're living in a time period where we have to look at what we're earning, how we can plan for the future, what we're doing not to get to this area, to that. And it's interesting because we've had this conversation coming back from Canada of just where we are. There is this survival mechanism. There's this fight or flight of what we have to do to keep ourselves safe. And that's outwardly in what the society is blasting in its programming conditioning. Yet inside, it's also very important individually to create that feeling of safety, that feeling of we're not in an area where we're exposed to being attacked, where we're not in an area where we have to fear, because even in this field of spirituality, we're aware and we give respect to everything. And we don't question what is real or what is not real. We don't say, okay, there's no darkness, there is darkness. We give respect to it. But there are forces out there. There are energies out there that if we give enough attention to, if we invite them into our levels, and if we create these fears that they're there to pull us away, we're giving our attention to, that's automatically affecting our safety, affecting our root chakra. And I feel how amazing is it when these examples can come forward, because it's helping us clear even more on depths that are unknown to us. I mean, I actually had to go all the way back myself to look at where it was where I wasn't feeling safe when my father raised his voice, when he threatened to leave, when he did things that were just beyond his loving, pure soul, that I look at him in the highest place, but also knowing that we all have these energies within us that's being dissolved. And I felt how powerful it was for both of us to look at that. And when I came back Friday, it's like we came back.
Yeah, both father things we
Fathers came up.
experienced. And just one second, and some of you have watched just this past March, again, both of my sons, that his friend was murdered the year before, right? And we don't live in a bad area at all. And the other one, again, my younger son experienced his friend being murdered. So we're not talking about just fighting. We're talking about actual gang murder, guns, and like really at that level. Some of you have been following. So then that was the thing. I said, my God, the safety. So there's this vibration within me that was pulsing, as secure as I am, but this is so deep, because there's this pulsing of the safety that wants to really no longer pause that it's unsafe. So, and then it was brought right into the complex, and that's when the light bulb up. It's like, oh my God. And I dove right in to bring this golden liquid energy and pour it into whatever area to help dissolve it. And it wasn't Michael's job to make me feel safe at all. My job is, that's my responsibility. That's my essential responsibility to fully take on, to know I am completely safe by my by this universal field of light and love, and I don't have to be concerned my safety is going to get shattered. So there are layers and layers and layers and layers that's been worked through, and the StarGate helped shine a supreme light on this very deep hidden area in me that had to do around the inner child safety in that safe environment.
And what was very interesting was,
we use the restroom.
What was very interesting was, right when we thought we're on the tipping, right when we're on the point of feeling like, okay, we are now in a place in where we can finally go through, there had to be one more massive trigger to like really say, oh, well, if you haven't gotten to the root of safety, if you haven't gotten to the root of security, if you've just thought you've cleared majority out in the 8 days that we were going through all of this, we're going to give one more to you. We're going to give one more example to see what's being brought forward. And it was interesting because I realized that, you know, when we came, we were exhausted, we were tired, and we're like, okay, let's go celebrate. And it was funny because I was like, let's go celebrate. And then Honey hit her holy blood, and after 9 days we were exhausted, and Saturday we were walking around zombies. So Sunday we woke up and we started talking, and there were areas that I saw that Honey pointed out within myself of where I was playing small and where I was not standing in my fullness of power. And it was really interesting because she's like, okay, she brought a point of this area of, again, where I was giving my energy away of playing this safe way. And so,
and use example again, there was Michael had over the breakfast, you know, because we know for a while things like his Archangel Michael healing has been transformed. So much is transformed, and again, what they've shown to us has to be brought forward.
There's a lot of things that I'm expanding in my own healing, and there's this and me wanting to express that, and when I communicate, expressing it in a way where I'm playing safe and playing small by using terminology that is not really reflecting what I'm giving. I'm not standing up to the fullness and power of recognition of what I'm shining out. So I chose
and what he's in service to. So that was the thing. So he had made a post about this is coming up. He's like, yeah, I changed it, and I was like, and he's like, what did you think? And it's not a good question to ask because I'm going to tell the truth. I was like, You're holding back again.
When you went to the bathroom, I was saying when we were
Yeah.
on like the tipping berg,
Yeah.
like everything is clear. Saturday's going,
Mm-mm.
Sunday's going, and
There
so
was more work.
and I said there was more work because this feeling of safety and security was the bubble that had to be popped. So of course, you know, we were talking about being in discomfort, and so all of a sudden, the idea came up of like, okay, well, if you're in discomfort.
No. 1 second. So on Sunday, our breakfast, he said, well, I use it. I was like, Michael, does that capture the energy in that which they've shown to us? They've said to it, this next level of your service, you know, you're beyond the healer. You are bringing transformation. Why is it not expressed that way? Why aren't you standing behind that in which you've been blessed with? Like, you're here to support humanity's ascension. Why are you holding back? I don't understand. Your expression again is this scary kitty cat. Like, what the hell? Like we're a lion, and I know you're a lion. We're experiencing what? Like, we have seen so much of what we do. Like, both of us come in. But why is it when it comes, you retract again? Like, it's making me crazy.
So in that, so that heated things up. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go into it. I'm going to share my discomfort, and I'm going to go on live stream.
No, so I was like, Michael, when there is a discomfort, I can only share this with you because I'm on the other side of it. I've been in those shoes where I'm discomfort. The minute, as long as you try to constantly satisfy that discomfort, you're never going to expand. You have to step over it and show who is in charge. Your heart is in charge, not the discomfort. Yeah.
So saying, okay, well, I will go into discomfort.
So Michael's like, okay, I'm going to do it, honey. I was like, okay, go. I was like, Michael, go. Freaking, like, I know you don't like doing live streams and that, but this is your example. Like, let me get uncomfortable and let me blast it. So I was like, and then he's like, okay. And I was like, don't do it for you. Do it to honor the divine in you. Go from that place. So he's like, okay.
So of course, I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready. I'm gonna go. And so I, of course, put my hair up. Then I put a collared shirt.
He had to get comfortable and all it again. All the steps of being comfortable again. He wanted to hold the crystal. I was like, give me the crystal. Stop making yourself. Stop feeling that energy.
And it was interesting because
I'm like,
it was like engaging in her for her to pop as I'm now presenting myself. And then I went into it, and then it was interesting because as I was going through it, I was still aware that there was a lot of energy coming through that wasn't coming from my heart. It was.
So Michael, speaking exactly, like, you went put the live. So you went put the. I was like, go out and live stream, do it. You're like, okay. So Michael went, set it up in our healing room, prop it up again, like wanting to get and I'm watching all of this. Look how much he's still trying to get comfortable. Like, okay, no problem.
Because
no problem. I'll step aside.
I'm very aware that it's taking me some beautiful time to speak to you wonderful beings, being on camera, and just feeling a comfort of being live, of being on video, of speaking. And so that's been one of my transformations of just of being on camera. And so I could feel that as I was going through, there was a lot of portions where there was some judgment. There were some areas that I could feel how hard I was on myself. But at the same time, I realized I was kind of speaking more generally, and I wasn't going into the specifics. And what I think is very important that I'm being reminded of is really speaking the rawness of the experience that's coming forward. So when I can speak the rawness, the emotion can follow. And when I got done, I remember like
but speak to that for just a second, Michael. So when Michael, I closed the other room and started listening to him. So Michael was talking, and Michael's like, I'm uncomfortable. So it was very clear. Again, he's speaking from his solar plexus. He's not speaking from his heart. And any of you that have met Michael in person, any of you that have had any interaction with him, any of you that have been in presence, and you know what he carries is incredible, and the heart is so ginormous. So it doesn't match when he's still like, like what is going on? And for me, that's been the frustration. What does it take? I can't do it for you because it's not my job, but what does it take for you to give this to yourself and give yourself and step over that part that has, my God, like just hold you back like this? Why are you giving it? Why are you allowing it to be in charge? Because it's impacting everything.
Right. And I saw that when I was communicating,
Yeah.
as I was talking on, that a lot of it I still felt was coming from here.
Yeah, Michael did the live stream, and he did a nice live stream, but he didn't speak his heart.
Yeah, my heart was blocked because my head was coming from the areas of what I wanted to do, what I wanted to express. And, I am a double Aquarius, so sometimes I do get airy and lose track of of where I'm going. So sometimes I go out to left field and come back around in the general nature of it. But I was aware that the fullness of the emotion and just the feeling behind it, because the one thing,
the emotion, the heart.
The heart.
You keep saying the emotion.
Well, the heart. The heart.
We're past that now.
The heart. Well, not just the emotion, but the heart and the energy behind the words. Because I feel like the words, when we can express the words, when we can feel the words, then there's an element, and there's a rawness. And even my mom said there's a difference between emotion and feeling. Because we can get lost in the emotion of it, but when we're expressing from the feeling, people can receive that. People can understand.
Let's just dissect this for a second. Energies of motions are in the lower 3 chakras. Lower 3 chakras, energies in motion. That the power of the rawness of the feeling is in the heart. That's what blasts out, and that's where it's got a presence that's ginormous. Energy in motion is not heart. Just putting it out there.
Yeah. So it was interesting because when I started the video
live stream,
then I immediately felt like, okay, I feel this feeling of being unsafe, or I feel this feeling of not being secure. And so that energy, which I thought was really, really powerful, that was moving through all of us, that came through all that was being brought forward in these 10 days.
Yeah.
After that video was completed, after that day that we moved directly into our communications, honey, sharing where those areas of limitations.
No, so that Michael, again, after the video, Michael was like, so how was it? And again, I'm going to speak the truth. I was like, you didn't speak your heart, Michael. He's like, no, I did. I said, no, you didn't. You didn't. You spoke from your solar plexus. You spoke from your insecurity. You didn't speak from the power of your heart. And I had to be very honest with it. And again, the frustration.
Right.
Yeah.
And so and
I was very frustrated at that point. Very frustrated. I was like, here you said, let's go celebrate. Let's go ahead and celebrate. Like, I am going to, I want this. And I feel it when he tells me this. And then when it comes to the action, it doesn't show up. Retracts.
I retracted on that. The very next day, which I
want to share, and I really want to share this. I'm not here to judge Michael. I told Michael, I said, Michael, I am here to stand next to you, to support your greatness. I am not here to continuously feed your weakness. That's the change that I am willing to, move into. I'm not supporting this because I take responsibility. I've supported your weakness. And this weakness is this limitation because you've had to be comfortable, and I have fed that place to continue to keep you comfortable. You got to get uncomfortable and to dissolve this.
So that energy moved into the final frontier.
Yeah.
And
that was Monday.
And that was Monday. And what was really powerful about it was, right, to just bring it all forward, the safety, the security that we felt, well, individually was resolved, but it was brought forward. It had to go even deeper to the point that when I was in the park lying Mother Earth and connecting to Mother Earth and just really grounding myself, giving all the energies that no longer served, Honey called me up. And that's when.
So I got this email from my former spouse from the DMV that they had sent an email to him that they're looking for this real ID thing. And I have to show up before December and I have to provide this paperwork. And suddenly my whole system went like this when I looked it up. And what happened was, just FYI, these last few days, there's been this crackdown of immigrations and all of this stuff. And my friends, my sons have witnessed a few people being taken away from the parents and what have you.
And
for
the
those
big
of you,
evacuation when all the kids.
Yeah, all of that. So that's been in the field too. Again, that's feeling of safety that we've been working with, sending a lot of prayers, and that ties into other things. So for those of you that may not know, this is like 25 years ago when we had applied for green card. My brother and I had our green card, but at that time my mother's green card had not come. Our father had just died. So we had to go in front of the judge, and my mom had come with her suitcase because it was in judge's hand to deport my mother. My mother had been called for deportation, basically. And I remember at that time, I couldn't fully process all the emotions. So it's so interesting how this came up on just this past Monday. And when I called when I was looking this up, I was like, oh my God. So I'm looking at this. Of course, I have an American passport. I'm US citizen. I have all the documents and all that. It's no problem.
Well, the people have gone to the airports. There's this new
thing
called the real ID. Real ID, which what they're doing after the 9/11 Commission, where in America, what they're trying to do is have this ID that's being created beyond your driver's license, but in placement of passport, which unfortunately Americans only 20% have passports. This ID
to be able to get to government,
to get government
higher official,
we know
what
it's another
have you.
form of them seeking more information from you, and really wanting you to give them as much information.
Which is not a problem. But what happened was, what that did to my system was like this, because without me realizing, it took me straight back to 25 years ago. That moment in court, my brother and I were like crying, begging the judge not to take our mother away from us, not to deport her. Our dad had just died, and we like had nobody else. Like, don't take our mother. Like, and it's interesting. I mean, there's just been so much trauma in my life that I've gone through process and like releasing it all. And of course, this surfaced up on Monday. And
so she called me.
I called Michael.
And I came back over, and we went through the specific area because it was talking about how you get your social security number, what papers you have to show that we didn't have or Honey didn't have. And so I had
all the papers. There's just this one part that I didn't have.
What was powerful was for me to come back and to break down the letter and said, if you have a passport, and so it was basically saying, if you didn't have a passport, this would be the next step to classify what identification you need to travel internationally, to go into government buildings. And I showed Honey specifically, okay, here's the information that's being saved. Let's go ahead and call a conscious accountant. Let's sit down and really let's go into seeing what things are needed, but to show her that by having a U.S. passport, by being an American citizen, there's nowhere that you have to worry about being safe and secure. And what was powerful about that is when that was being brought forward and when Honey went into that, then it brought forward even deeper emotions that night that Honey spoke about.
Yeah, so which was so important, because I want you to know this, because this was multiple layer within the StarGate what took place that then moved both of us into this next phase. So interesting enough, that feeling of like almost like bully wanting to separate, and I've been hearing and seeing families being separated and all of that, and I had not faced those emotions in years because they had been buried. It just had been buried. So what I'm seeing, like on the outside, like this issue with safety. So it took that moment for me to stand up and rise. And I rose in the presence of Divine Mother, Divine Father. And I said, I claim my right as a universal citizen, as a sovereign being, as a citizen of the world. I'm not bound to this. I'm not bound to any of this. It has no power over me. So I had to really go into invocations and claim that I am permanently safe because I come from source light. I already am. And really just expand that all the way into that area of my inner child that had been calling that space, and like the teenager not feeling safe with the just the shelter and home. So it was so powerful. And the evening
You get to really she got to really
express it.
and she's expressed her childhood, but I feel there's so many layers of it that when she goes into the depth of where she comes from, and I'm very aware of it, but there's certain pieces when she brings all of it together, the fullest of expression, the fullest of energy, it really gave the opportunity not only for her to be hearted and heard, but to really let it out. I mean, to give it to the fullness. I mean, the chiefs, the lieutenants, the energies that are coming forward to be heard and to be expressed, so that too can be released back into light. And I felt that
and again, not from a place of victim. I take full ownership of everything I've experienced in this incarnation. And that was the thing that I would share with Michael. I was like, Michael, I signed up for all of this very difficult incarnation. And no matter how much has been thrown at me, I still rise. This heart of mine rises because I can, and I'm not backing that, and I'm not going to back. I'm going to continue to go. I am a warrior. My name is named after a warrior. I claim I'm a warrior of light, and I'm going to continue to go because that light has to be spread so dark can expand into the light. Any shadow in me has to expand into the light. So this is such a core truth inside of me. And then it was brought the examples again. I was like, I'm Michael, and I saw that in you. That's why we joined forces. You have that power. I've seen you put in that action. And I asked Michael, I said, what happens when you actually put that in action? And he's like, it's magical. I said, what else? He's like, it's incredible. I was like, what else? And he went into it. It's empowering. It's this. I was like, don't you deserve that? Aren't you worthy, deserving of that presence continuously? He said, yes. I said, am I not deserving to be in that vibration together, share it with you? He said, yes. I said, isn't that vibration worthy of all these people around us that we're friends with, that we're service to, for everybody to benefit? This energy is not just for us, it's for everyone to benefit. And he said, yes. And that was that very deep mutual place where
and I find thank you, honey, because that to me was,
because that's a truth that I know.
And that truth not only was brought forward, but it was a truth that we both melted into. I thought that moment we were both, our eyes, our hearts, all that energy came directly within us, and we're like, wow.
And I expressed to Michael. I said, Michael, 8 years ago, Team Above showed me this vision that I will be with somebody in front of many thousands and thousands, and together we're bringing the highest level of vibration of transformation into the planet. I said, everything has shifted in my life to dedicate to this. And I know the vision is not incorrect because it's all the other visions, all of them have happened. And I honor that. I was like, but I can't do it when you don't show up for your part. If you're part of that vision, then you got to show up, and it requires your heart, not your energies of motion.
And so what was very powerful is on the following morning,
Tuesday
morning, that we were in a place where I always feel from the depth of my love
Yeah, you woke up when you woke up. Your eyes were open.
My eyes were open, and I had a lot of tears, and I just started going deep within my heart and expressed my love, and express what it was when I first met her, and how I was melting, and how this love is so strong, and it just gave me this refreshing, beautiful, empowering feeling to really, really know deep within my heart that this is my love.
But it wasn't that. It was the words that you said to. You said, honey, I am frustrated at myself that I feel all of this, but sometimes I don't allow the fullness of it.
Right.
And that really frustrates me.
Right.
Yeah.
And and what I always find is when the power of love, when that energy of love is so strong that can dissolve everything, because it is that love that holds everything entirety together. It is the completion of all. And so the opportunity to express that, to feel it, to allow my tears to come forward and just really, really show that to you. I felt we melted. We came together.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that you were expressing your love to me. It wasn't that. It was the presence of the rawness of your heart in which you were giving permission to speak to. Because I'm not here, Michael, for you to express your love to me, for me to stand with you. That's not it. I'm here for you to embrace that love in you. That rawness and love in you that is you.
Right.
So that we can, this frequency we share together and serve others, but you spoke raw and very real. And I could feel the power of that total raw truthfulness. And that's what was so beautiful. And I could feel that expanding all through your bodies, and you breathing it, and it's like the dissolving of all this resistance and giving permission of your will. It's like I felt like you finally put the swords down, guards down. Like finally, you know what? I am going to allow this, and that's what I felt. It wasn't the words you said. It was the presence,
the energy
that I could feel. That was crystal clear diamond. There was no more. I didn't know part of that fractal was present in that moment.
And when I say words, I feel the energy behind what was being expressed, because
the frequency was very alive.
Was powerful, because it was going back all the way to what happened when we first met each other. Like what those experiences were, and to really express.
When we met each other, just so that you know, Michael and I met on November 16. Within 2 weeks, we were on the road, 3 countries, doing planetary work, driving from here, going to another one, being at this pyramid, being in that pyramid, transforming energy, da-da-da. And I was like, do you know what you're doing? Here, you do your part, I do my part. We show up. So it was so fast and crazy and wild. And I didn't have time to explain anything, and I couldn't. And I really relied on him to do his part. And we experienced multiple dimensional realities and oh my gosh, pyramids opening over my head, all kinds of craziness, incredibleness happening from these 3 countries, from Mexico to Guatemala to Belize, and then shifting all these energies from Atlantis, bringing things back, the portal opening and the StarGate shifting and bringing the codes in, transforming. I mean, so much was happening. But Michael was very present, nothing held back, which was incredible. And that was the presence that we started our journey with.
And it was, and to me, it was, I feel so aligned in that moment. It's so aligned, and to tap into that alignment and feel that frequency within it, and to really bring that to our attention. Look at the gift that's been brought before us. Look at this energy that is now within us, And as Honey said, like that morning, there was this new breath of air.
Yeah,
There was this
liberation.
new liberation, this power that I felt of just strength, this power
Yeah.
of confidence, of courage.
Whatever
this
took place
will that-
Monday night as we went to bed, it totally transmuted, because, and I feel it's because the level of rawness that we spoke to each other, the level of depth we went through, and the level of just total transparency and truth with each other, and also not from the insecurity that we're going to lose each other, from the love that we have to face this, because it's our, for me was at least, the personal ascension is so key part of the planetary ascension, and I can't go through this if I'm holding any part of me back, or if I'm holding you back. And I feel there was somewhere in Michael that clicked that yes, I'm doing, but the doing that I'm doing is not its full expression, so I gotta kick it into the other gear to fully bring it in order to fulfill this part that is required, that is called into action.
And since that day, there's just been this ultimate transformation that we just feel this frequency, this feeling of like I really feel like since that time period, there's just energies have shifted, and even this morning in our morning prayer, we
both felt a very different prayer.
very, very powerful golden presence of the source light, this feeling of prosperity, this feeling of abundance, and just the importance. The
prosperity and abundance is there, but the frequency of all that is here to support us in this celebration. And I kept saying to Michael, I was like, Michael, Ascension is celebration, not suffering. I want to share the frequencies of celebration of Ascension. We all on a planetary level have suffered enough. That suffering is time for bringing the celebration, the true joy, the true essence of, because there's no end point. We already are here. We've already arrived, that in which we were being trying to arrive to. We already source light. Let's start freaking celebrating it now. What the hell are we waiting for? Why continuously to go through the rabbit hole of suffering? That makes no sense.
And it's interesting because in the old paradigm, we can clear this pain. We can clear till the cats come home. Or the cows come home. Like we can keep clearing, or we can just rewrite, reprogram, blast it out
with celebration and let it wash.
Allow the opportunity to bring forth what we've known to come here, and not get so caught up on what has happened, not to be worried about what's moving forward, but like being right here and bringing it to the fullness of the highest of what we've come to do. And I thank you for this opportunity, not only now, but just for all to really take that time to go in, not only within ourselves, but what we're giving to the collective, and communicate our truth, to be able to stand in our truth, and to be able to rise in ways that we never thought, because we're not here to play little. I'm not here to play little. We're here to look at ourselves and stand in our highest force. We're here to look within and say, how can I imagine myself to be the largest, most incredible, powerful being that I've been brought here to now demonstrate? And wherever that is within myself that I'm limiting, let me now take that on to help dissolve. And boy, did 8-8 I feel just
and really brought that to bring that blasting energy. And it's really the true golden sun energy, the golden light we are. Because what is this gold particle? This gold particle is the Christus energy, is the Christed energy, is the feminine Christ, is the masculine Christ, is the unity Christ consciousness. The geometric patterns have shifted so that we can come in that unison. And that's what that expression of it is. So I feel there's one thing, if we can etherically have it in our conscious mind, but for me and Michael too, it's for me, it's very important to bring it here in this now, really ground the energy. So it is in my expression, it is in my action, it is in the truest, fullest voice of that authenticity, and anchoring it completely and being raw and real. There's nothing for me more liberated than being raw and real. And that to me is the invitation, because that gives me the ability to celebrate whatever is happening in this real rawness moment. And that is a very celebration, because that too is part of divine. See, this is the part that like I have moved away from the yoga world. I'm moving away from all these programs and conditionings and the ways of constructing the mind, or whatever they wanted to look like, a sort of like a cookie cutter way of what spirit expression looks like. I have no, I can't even resonate with that. To me, raw and real in this now, fully present and fully anchored in its expression, now is the next level of celebration in this expression. And whatever that is being expressed without the energy being held back. And that means completely the completely being free, so the source light can express itself. Source light would express itself if I'm not feeling well also. That is not mean that I'm in separation of my divinity. If a day I wake up like I have the headache, that does not mean I'm less than divine that day. Those are all the judgments that are being washed away, because this source light already is. I already am. I've already arrived. That the destination that I was looking for. And here I am now celebrating all of these parts that are part of this fragmented part of me that has been spread out through the universe, and now bring back into the fullness of its oneness energy. And that's the truth of that in which I feel.
And I know that both of us have come together for a most beautiful, wonderful celebration.
Yeah.
And it is a gift that we can openly share,
Yeah.
no matter where it finds my edge, where it finds my level of discomfort, or maybe even lack of experience. But I thank you for allowing me to go beyond my edge,
Yes.
and to allowing this opportunity to really just lift, not only in our own personal story and our personal expression, but also to give that back to each and every one of you, because we know that this is beyond us.
Yeah, because so many couples we know went through really difficult phase this period. So many individually, personally, they're all going through it because it has to be aligned. And I want to share this with you because Michael and I, there's this next phase. We are, we just set up our new Gmail that is the words that was given to us from Spirit. Now we want to create the Facebook page for it. The YouTube channel for this very specific work that was given to us, and we want you to be the first ones to hear it, actually, because you've been here with us, and so that's what our frequency had to align, so that we can be in total respect to this and keep delivering it forward. Right. So do you want to share it?
I think you should share
it. Okay, so the sort of like the wording content for this is Ascension Alchemy Academy. So literally we're going to be creating the academy around Ascension Alchemy. We were told we are the Ascension Alchemists. So that's what we're going through, that in which we're going through to alchemize that state of the ascended state of being. So we're anchoring it on here. That's what we had to find each other. That's what we had to go through all of these things together so we can anchor it. So right now, my Facebook fan page, Michael and I have been sharing, but the name has to be changed. So there's all of these things. So I've been waiting for Michael to deliver his part, so that way him and I can move together. And that's what was some of the frustration, because I've been just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. So I feel now finally it's kicked into gear. So now we move forward, and this is part of it with this Ascension Alchemy, Ascension Alchemist, Ascension Academy Alchemy, and all the different ways that we're here to help individuals ascension and the planetary ascension. So we'll be putting within the next few months a very sort of like not a very elaborate website, just to it can show some of these curriculums and stuff like that, as well as our continuous videos, because the video stream is such a huge part of the teachings, not for me, for example, with this and Michael and just this Ascension Tea Time, but just shorter videos of 5 minutes of reminders to help support. So these light cores and these plasma lights that are coming in are able to blast out even faster. And also we change our email, so we're going to be post at it. This is the email from now on to be able to contact both of us directly. So over these next couple of months, we'll be finalizing some of these details in its expression and its contribution, because now we feel, now we align after the StarGate, the 88 Lionsgate StarGate. So that power that we call the power of the heart, the lion's heart, has now been intact so that we can go forward. And Michael is going to be showing quite a bit with his own telephone, live streaming it, and getting himself really out there, because that's what's required. So his energy is also being forward. It's not about his lower three chakras. It's the energy that moves through him that's so supreme and powerful is able to be brought forward now.
And we really bring this forward in our love and our ability to show that we are a reflection of you. We're a mirror of you, so that it also is this beautiful conscious domino effect where what we're doing is also engaging, also promoting, also lifting the beautiful art within you, because we also know that each and every one of you has that within, and to see others is to also show that there's those videos, there's those times, there's expressions. Each of all of us can keep bringing forward this, because right now we are in our such powerful times that so many people are awakening, so many people are looking up, and so many people are here to assist this new world. So
but we have to bring it in. That's one of the things that's been continuously spoken. You can think of it, you can know it, but there's a whole different energy to bring it into your emotional body, bring it into your physical body, and own it, anchor it. If you can't anchor it, you're not delivering it. And that's the accountability that is put out to every single one of us. We can have this fancy language until you're able to really bring it in and face some of those shadows that are blocking you. You can't fully allow the full celebration, because we're here for the planetary ascension, which is celebration.
And we are here to be anchors of light. And as we are here to be anchors of light, we have to honor, we have to respect ourselves within that. And as we honor and respect that,
the accountability,
it's through our actions. And it takes really a lot of strength, and most important, will, to hold yourself accountable and to move through this, because we all know we can speak it. I know for myself, I can talk the language, I can express it, but there's that beingness of demonstrating it. And it's very important. It is through the action, the most important, that I'm learning through the heart and not through any other energies that are pulling me down. And so,
and him not getting any more mad at me when I pointed right at, that wasn't hard. We know that's not hard.
It's funny, because in this beautiful being, there is
doesn't hold back.
Doesn't hold back, but there are a lot.
And I'm demonstrating to Michael not to hold back, to express.
There's a lot of chiefs in there, and so when these chiefs come out, it's not just one chief, two chiefs, three chiefs. There's about a whole contingency of chiefs, and I know they're looking at me and they're saying, "You have this. It's there. We're going to bring it to you because we know that you can handle it." And so my sensitivity has to be pushed to the side sometimes, so I can just hear it and not take it emotionally.
No more.
But take it from my feelings of what's being brought forward, so that we can lift each other.
Yeah, and we can lift from that place.
And what we also understand is how at times it is necessary to go through this, because it does bring up pains that hasn't been healed.
And I feel the most important part to know, if you're in a relationship or a union or a sacred divine union, when you go through these, to know it's not that you failed in your relationship. It's not that you're going to lose the relationship. It's not that you're going to be, wow, we had it together, we served together, all these attachments. None of that. and to fully embrace that something is actually very right. This is being brought up so it can either go into full alignment, or B, it serves its purpose. Now it's time to move forward. And for each of us to have the power to exercise our ultimate divine truth. I told Michael, I was like, I know with every part of my being, it's not time for us to go apart. There, that's not it yet. We have to see if we can have the will to pull this together. And this part, it really requires your part. Are you willing to put it in while I'm adjusting this part? And that required that level of honesty. There's no blame, there's none of that, and there is no shame. And especially if you yourself individually going through it, because it is all about being very, very brutally truthful with yourself.
And understanding that when there, for me, feeling that there's been such a high demonstration of love, when there's been an experience that we've never experienced with any other being, then we are aware that exists. And when that love is honored and respected and held to the highest level, then we can operate, we can be without any more energies that are going to pull us. And it does take a huge level of strength, courage, and most important, will to move through these things, because I'm aware that in these relationships, even within ourselves, when we look at a relationship within ourselves, the divine partnership within ourselves, is to be very real with ourselves.
Very real.
To call ourselves out in compassion, in light, but to be very real, to see what areas within myself that needs to be supported, it needs to be loved, it needs to be released, it needs to be cleared, because it does take so much strength that we see to move through this.
And it takes a lot of strength to see.
And we realize that not to take it personal, not to use this as anything as a diminished to weakness, or this is going to cause something, or it's not happening yet. No, it's really a test that I find, if you've seen in others, is the strength and will to move through it, because those you guys that are on the path of ascension, we are being dealt with the highest challenges and tests. And the most important,
to ascend the energy,
right,
to bring it, to descend this down, transform the energy and ascend it up. Right. That's why we are part of the ascension. And so we can't sugarcoat it and cookie cut it either.
And as a human being, they've given us one piece that can shift us any way, and it's free will. Yeah. We have the free will to choose where we want to go, what we want to do. Yet, in this anchoring of love that comes through, in bringing forth our truth, bringing forth our power, then all we can do is serve from that highest place. And I find that within us, when we go through this, I'm very grateful. Thank you for not only sharing this, but for demonstrating it. Yeah. Because we know that all of us are receiving these energies, because one part is us, one part is the collective, one part is the complete universal forces of saying we're all moving through this together. A lot of us, we are seeing where these pressures are, where this guilt and shame has been stored in lower layers, and how much doubt, skepticism, and lack of trust has placed our empowerment all the way down to where we're actually looking for others for our own security, for our own validation, looking to see how can we do it by being judged by the others versus looking within ourselves. It's all a collective force that we're going through. So if we can be raw and real in our relationship and not personalize it, like, oh my gosh, this was on the brink.
And that word of unconditional love, Michael Junam, is very important. Unconditional love placed in action is very different than when it is just in the thought field or in the etheric. Unconditional love does not mean you will stand by and support and tolerate a behavior that is detrimental, or it is not in vibration harmony to you. That unconditional love is for you to first bring it into you, and to know the truth. Like, I unconditionally will love myself. I will no longer tolerate, put up with, sacrifice. Those are all old energies. I will unconditionally love myself. That means I will love myself in all of these areas, but I will not put up with the bullshit of me anymore. That means I will no longer also tolerate another. That is a very different energy. So it's at this unconditional, like I'll accept you exactly when you're creating harm, all of that. I'm going to accept. There's no accountability on that. And to me, that's a very different energy. There's a misunderstanding about this crystalline Christed energy. That energy is very clear and it knows, but it's not going to stand by and tolerate. That's a one thing that I really want to put out for it to be very crystal clear. At least that's the way I receive it. And the way I see it, none of the masters that I work with stand by on so-called this idea of mental unconditioned accepting me for when I'm acting like, not in my fullness and what have you. They put me into work. Hey, they nudge me. Listen, I'm going to hold you accountable. Are you showing up? And they put me through the work for me to show up, for me to tackle this. So, and that's where I experienced the true love. That means they're unafraid to tell me the bullshit in which I am like using as excuse within myself. With all due respect.
And that unconditional love all starts within ourselves.
Yeah.
That all starts within our ability.
Unconditionally love you so you can see the depth of your truth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm going to go into the messages for the angels for
so
today.
we didn't even see this at all. Some of you have made comments. I think you've just been listening and here. So we thank you, Angela, Sunshine, Demetrius, Dan, you're here. Hi, nice to see you. And of course, Valerie, this is, I don't know if he's still around, but thank you so much because these are all part of what was happening and for us to move forward because we got lots coming up on our way.
So taking a deep breath and placing your hands over your heart and reading today's messages from the angels. Today's message: know that you are a gift of joy. Babies are often referred to as bundles of joy. Well, you're also a delightful present to others. You, too, are joy, gift wrapped in a beautiful human body. Everywhere you go, you exude wonderful energies. Even when you're unaware of this process, you can't help but spread happiness as that's your true essence in nature. Of course, you can increase or decrease the amount of joy that you radiate. So place your attention on showering huge amounts of bliss wherever you go. You can do this without a word, without even being noticed. Simply set intention throughout the day to spread happy feelings, and it is done. You'll know by the smiles and laughter you inspire that your aim has been fulfilled. For these are reflections of the gift that you're given. Repeating after me the thought for today. I spread happiness wherever I am.
I spread happiness wherever I am.
I set the intention to give more of this feeling.
I set the intention to give more of this feeling.
Than ever today.
Than ever today.
Everywhere I go.
Everywhere I go.
I ask that delight.
I ask that delight.
Fill the hearts of those that I encounter.
Fill the hearts of those that I encounter.
I am the embodiment of joy itself.
I am the embodiment of joy itself. Aho. That's a good one. And let us see what the Ascension energy frequencies are bringing a collective message for us. Oh, Archangel Metatrons retreat. We had this before. I think 2 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago.
Loves to be with us.
I love it. Archangel Metatrons retreats above the temple of Luxor in Egypt. We'll be there soon, where he holds the ascension energies for the world. He maintains the energy by bringing forward spiritual discipline. He suggests you commit to a spiritual practice if you don't already have one. We all have it. Luxor is the spiritual throat chakra of the world. This is very important. We're really being embraced to speak the words of that truth, and it has to come through the gateway of the heart. As it ascends, people would communicate higher wisdom and link telepathically with all life forms. You are asked to send love and wisdom to all sentient beings. This card invites you to visit Metatron's retreat in your sleep to accelerate your spiritual growth. Affirmation. I am visiting Metatron's retreat in my sleep tonight.
I am visiting Metatron's retreat in my sleep tonight.
So this was very important one. I just want to sort of wrap this up with this multiple dimensional being that we are, that's beyond this time space reality, that is way larger than life itself. It is a force. It is a fierce light presence, and that is in which has been calling every single one of us to itself, to come to its own home, to own it. And I feel that's why we have ascended, whether we're volunteers on earth, we have taken this ascension assignment and come into a human form so that we can deliver it. And I feel this is why we resonate with each other. This is why we come to each other's life. So that enriches you, is revealing this part of me that I can see before me. And that gives me the opportunity to transform, to transcend, to transfigure energy that I wish to release into the light. That's why I see it in my outer field. And that in which I wish to expand further in its network of light. So that's why this is a collective energy, and it requires each of us individually to do our part.
It's so important that we are here today to share this message as we honor each of you. We thank you for the time that you spent with us. I know that we tried to keep it closer to an hour and a half. Today was a very
We had a
powerful
lot to
one. We
share.
have a lot to share. So thank you for all of your support, all your love, and just the
And
messages.
if this helped you, we like to hear,
Yeah.
right? Wouldn't you want to know,
Yeah.
did what we share help you? Did anything actually, did it give you hope? Did it give you reminder? Did it inspire you? Have you been wondering what's happening with Michael and I? And were you uncomfortable with what we were going through? I'm curious to know.
Or what discomfort it brought up in yourself. Because
exactly.
This is also a time for you to share and come forward and what your true expression is. As beings that are here to share this, we are also very open and very
because we see you as us. We're not showing up here to just talk shit, literally. We're not. We're here to share, and we're not here to create an audience. Oh, listen to our story. This is not about story. This is about the steps we're willing to take down the rabbit hole to recognize there is no hole, to recognize, to dissolve the illusion. Yeah. Thank you, Demetrius. Yes, thank you for supporting. Sunshine Live, you're saying yes. What is that? It helped. It's in line with my mission and the moment of stepping. Thank you, Dan. I'm very glad.
And thank you, Dan, for joining us, because I feel this message is very, very important for many of us sacred divine masculine, because we are here now fully to jump in our divine power, and it's there. It's already here waiting for us. It's within us. It's now demonstrating, being the action of, because our Mother Earth, our galaxy, there's so much that isn't hinged right now for us to fully represent of our trueness.
Can I suggest from a sacred divine feminine the word that I just want to throw up I literally, I don't want to hear anymore. This word, I want to step into. I just want to throw up from this word. But Dan, I love you so much. No disrespect. And because I hear Michael say it, can that word be transformed? How about a different word? Because the moment you say, I'm going to step, that means you're still holding back the freaking energy. How about I am? I am in my power. I am the power. There's no stepping, because otherwise you keep creating this separation over there and here. There's no separation anymore. That's the word that has to end. Like, enough. I want to step into the power. Freaking enough. Because there's Dan, I'm not coming at you. This is actually more directed to Michael and a few others, because I keep
I'll take it
hearing
all
this
for you,
word.
Dan.
I keep hearing this word. Thank you. I love you. Exactly. Because I don't want to hear it. I want to step. Enough. How many steps? So Michael, like, there's that. And when you hear it, I'm going to step, because I hear Michael this, honey, I want to do this. I want to do this. Okay, that's good. I've heard it. And we women, frankly, Guy has heard it. We don't want to hear it anymore. We want you to feel it. I am the fullness of my power. Michael, put your hands up. Dan, Demetrius, put your hands up. All of you. Come on. No, release it. Don't protect the heart. Release it. Dan, come on with me. Ready? Demetrius, where are you? Sunshine, here. Let's do this. Let's freaking do this together. Like, seriously. Here we go. Say it with me.
I am.
1 second. Okay. I am the fullest expression of my divinity.
I am the fullest expression of my divinity.
I am the rise of my greatness.
I am the rise of my greatness.
I am that in which I have waited for.
I am that which I have waited for.
I am the power that I seek.
I am the power that I seek.
I am the love that I have longed for.
I am the love that I have longed for.
I am fully capable.
I am fully capable.
I am enough.
I am enough.
I am in totality of the oneness of my being.
I am the totality of the oneness of my being.
I am light.
I am light.
I am love.
I am love.
I am joyous.
I am joyous.
I am prosperous.
I am prosperous.
I am divine itself.
I am divine itself.
I am boldness.
I am boldness.
I am grounded.
I am grounded.
I am liberated.
I am liberated.
I am freedom.
I am freedom.
I am consciousness.
I am consciousness.
I'm universal.
I am universal.
I am celestial.
I am celestial.
I am galactic.
I am galactic.
I am all.
I am all.
I claim
I claim
my oneness.
my oneness.
I claim my wholeness.
I claim my wholeness.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
How did that feel?
Amazing.
When you say, could you tell some of it, there was like a resistance you saying it?
No.
Not at all?
No, I
Okay.
felt very open.
Dan, how was it?
Look at Demetrius, I'm here.
Demetrius, yes, you are. I am here. Sunshine, I am. How was it? Did you all do that with us?
I am what I'm seeking for.
I've been looking for. Exactly. Yes, you are, Dan. You totally are. No more stepping. There's nothing to stamp. Freaking devour, jump in the oneness that you already are. You already are. There's no more searching for you. You already are. As soon as you accept it, that in which you already are will be reveal all of itself to you. And that's the I feel that's the frustration that I've had. Like, enough putting yourself through torture and suffering. You don't need to anymore. Accept Accept you here in this now fullness so that you don't need to take a step anymore. You already have arrived.
Exactly, Valerie. Remembering that we already are it.
Thank you. Good. Felt that. Good. Thank you.
Just fully affirmed.
Thank you, Demetrius. Love you so much. Dan and Demetrius, hopefully you guys can see each other in London a little bit. Love you all. Love you all so much. Thank you so much. Hopefully I wasn't, I'm unapologetic about it because I just don't want to hear the word step anymore. You know what? I've heard it so much. And you know who I've heard it about? My closest male friends continue to say, I'm going to step in my power. I'm going to step in. Freaking own your power. Power was already given to you. Like, enough. Stop playing games with yourself.
You're right. I believe that I have fallen away from it sometimes.
Yeah.
Damn
but
it.
Not anymore.
You're not the only one. We all we all are imperfect in our perfections.
Yeah. That's why we share. That's why we share really out of love. We share like seriously, no more playing game with yourself. No more. Have humility, have respect, have honor that you are from source light already. You already came in with everything. Like, no more. Bring that love into you. Allow yourself to bathe in the light and love of your own Almighty. So you no longer have to take any of these steps, but you deliver with the true essence that is already you. Oh, to that. What is it? It's good, Umberto. Yes, you are. Yes. Have an amazing. So happy Venus Friday, everyone.
Thank you.
Let's seal that for a second. We're going to go ahead and seal this for a moment. Take some deep in breath in. Breathe it out. Breathing that essence into you. The essence that you are fully into you, and breathe it out. Breathing the divine that is you. Breathing it all the way out in your out breath outward. Tiramuru la taramayali. Iram karatala marakara namai. Urut muakura maratara nayaga. Litira makirida makiyama. Tiram purutura mayakiati. Urum tua aratmiakiyami. Rikmeatira mu karantarayi. Irintia karatara narami. Let me echo. Let me echo. Let me echo. Let me. Let us seal that presence all around us in the presence of our divinity. Let me echo. Let me echo. Let me akurat miaki. Say it. Let me akurat miaki. Let me akurat miaki. Let me akurat kiami. We own it. It's been handed to us by the planetary Christ to us. Each of us now are the holder of the chalice cup. And now we are here to serve from the fullness of our cup. Aho to that. Namaste and Lakesh Banuresh Hash. Thank you so much for being with us. We love you so dearly. We appreciate you so greatly. And we thank you as Michael and I see this as every step of the ascension together with you in our being. There is no separation. That's why we share.
We love you all, and we thank you all. Wishing you a most blessed day.
Yeah. Bye.